welcome to the first season of the Is the Planet Doomed podcast. This is a project produced by the students of a course with the same name in the Department of Geography at Colgate University. By unpacking some of the world's most pressing and complex problems, the episodes in this podcast help answer the question, well, are we doomed? In this episode, ehodes raises some worrisome questions about the way artificial intelligence is being weaponized.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
What's the problem?
I think you know what the problem is.
That sinister voice you just heard was HAL 9000, or HAL for short. HAL is the super-intelligent computer controlling a spaceship in Stanley Kubrick's 1968 film 2001: A Space Odyssey. For decades, artificial intelligence has weaseled its way into all areas of pop culture. Movies, books, music. Whether watching The Terminator or reading Ender's Game, we are fascinated with stories that AI plays a big part in. But consider this. How long will these stories remain stories of fiction? With technology rapidly evolving, we should not take these stories lightly. It could be years, decades, or centuries away, but artificial intelligence is a pressing issue, one that we cannot ignore. The idea of the military having autonomous soldiers, tanks, and drones is very real. We need to exercise extreme caution when it comes to the weaponization of AI.
But the thing that's most dangerous is kind of a deep intelligence in the network. He said, well, what harm could a deep intelligence in the network do? So, well, it could start a war.
That was Elon Musk, CEO of SpaceX, Tesla, and founder of several other companies. Musk is absolutely a man that would benefit from the weaponization of AI. His companies have the means to meet militaristic demands for artificial intelligence. Musk is a strong supporter of government regulation over AI. He even signed a petition warning against autonomous weapons. This letter poses an important question. Should we start or prevent a global AI arms race? Other signatories include leading AI researcher Stuart Russell, Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak, and the late, great Stephen Hawking. When names like these say we should not start a military arms race, us mere mortals should probably listen. There is more than meets the eye as to why Musk is so against AI. In May of 2017, one of his self-driving Tesla Model S cars killed a pedestrian in Arizona. The company responded to the incident, claiming that the system couldn't distinguish a white truck from the sky. How much decision-making can these algorithms really handle? What if a car has to choose between hitting pedestrians or saving the passengers? Or what if an automated soldier, firearm, drone, or tank is forced to choose between completing a mission or killing an innocent civilian?
The kill decision in robots in the air, in robots on the ground, in robots in the water or underwater is made by, or can be made by machines. And the problem is, artificial intelligence, sometimes they make mistakes.
You just heard Jay Tuck, an expert on U.S. defense and AI weaponry, touch on the most obvious fear of weaponizing artificial intelligence. What if machines mess up? The militarizing of AI is largely hypothetical at this point. We haven't seen it on a large scale. So, instead of going into the science of these hypothetical machines messing up, let's get to the consequences. We have no laws in place to regulate AI warfare. There doesn't seem to be any urgency in the legislative world to create regulation. Yet, in the United States Defense Department 2019 proposed budget, they request roughly $187 million for AI-related programs. This money would be spent on the technology that Musk and Hawking's petition warned against. And the military's response to the worries of the people? They replied that, quote, methods for artificial intelligence assessment will be employed to ensure future unmanned systems can offer transparency in their cognitive processes. So, since our military wants to spend so much of the taxpayers' money on AI warfare, what comes next? Picture this. It's the year 2050, and urban warfare features human soldiers fighting side by side with robots. There's a glitch in the robot's programming, and it causes innocent casualties. Who's to blame? Who will be held responsible for the actions of AI weaponry on the battlefield? There is probably a reason, however cynical it may be. Lawmakers don't discuss this. Less accountability on the battlefield is a convenient idea on Capitol Hill. Without a need for blame, there is no need for ethics. But, if it continues to progress, artificial intelligence will display characteristics of human capabilities. Will we repeat history and deny human rights and standards of ethics to them too? The late great Stephen Hawking was one of the big names that preached carefulness when it came to AI.
The development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. Once humans develop artificial intelligence, it would take off on its own and redesign itself at an ever-increasing rate. Humans, who are limited by slow biological evolution, couldn't compete and would be superseded.
Now, it's likely Hawking wasn't speaking from a militaristic view, but let's think of what he said from that perspective. If we continue to let the military pump resources into AI, and the government continues its lack of regulation, what will happen? Will the dystopian world of the Matrix really be that far off? It should be a very real worry that we will develop AI to the point where we can't control it, and it would then control us. But if weaponizing artificial intelligence can clearly be so dangerous, why is the idea pushed forward today? Quite frankly, the answer is simple: money. AI technologies are made to further the agendas of the groups that fund them. In this case, those groups are the military and private defense corporations. It's no coincidence that justification for AI is put in a militaristic light. Another common justification is that it will foster corporate competitiveness. Sadly, it isn't really a surprise that the government seems to be more worried about economic prosperity than civilians' safety. Let it be clear. The weaponization of artificial intelligence is not something we can just put off. We cannot allow ourselves to say, "Oh well, that's a problem for the next generation." There are already sentry robots used in Korea. These robots can track a human for up to 2 miles and kill that target with a very powerful rifle. There is even a switch on the robot allowing automatic kills. Those robots were developed 3 years ago. Imagine what they can do now. We must heed the warnings of the likes of Hawking, Russell, and Musk. No matter who you are, where you're from, or what you believe, most of us can agree on this. There are much better ways to use our time, money, and resources than finding new ways to kill our brothers and sisters. For Colgate University, I'm Aaron Hodis.